Hi, this is Dan Elder with Kidasa Software. Welcome to this tips and tricks video for Milestones Professional. Let's get started. The first tip is about moving or copying symbols or bars to different rows in your schedule. So you can use the arrow tool here on your toolbox, and if you hold Shift on your keyboard and then click and drag the start symbol, I'm just going to hold Shift and click and drag the start symbol. You can see I'm moving that whole bar to a different row. So if you hold Shift, it's going to move that symbol or bar. And if you hold Control, it's actually going to copy it. So just as an example, I'll hold Control now, and then you can see I'm copying it to a different row. Another important part of this is if you go to the Tools tab and you click on the Dates options right here, you can see there's this option, lock symbol to date when copying or moving line to line. So that's actually going to keep the dates the same. If you don't have that checked, then you can see when I copy it, it's actually going to change the date based on wherever my mouse was. So you can kind of see that happening right there. So I'm just going to undo all of that stuff right there. So another cool thing you can do is if you go to the Tools tab, you can actually filter your schedule. I'm going to go to Filter Task Rows right here. And for example, you can do column text containing. So I can just click on that. And if I want to look for any task rows that have tooling in a column, I'll just search for tooling. So includes tooling and press OK. And then you can see it just kind of filtered out all the tasks that contain tooling in any column. If you want to filter by a certain column, you can just select the column before you do that filter. I'm going to go ahead and undo that. You can either go Edit, Undo Filter Results, or you can go in Tools. You can choose Show All Task Rows, and that'll just kind of undo that filter. You can also filter by symbol type. So if I click on Filter Task Rows again, I can look for symbol bar type, and I'll just say ignore bars. Yeah, I'm just going to look for symbols. So I can say filter tasks must have at least one of the following symbols. So I can just choose from there. Let's see, I know I've got some of these green diamonds here. So I'm just going to choose that. It's going to look on all the rows for this green symbol right here, and if it has it, then it'll show it. So I'll press OK. So you can see it filtered out everything that does not have one of those green diamonds. So that's pretty cool. That's in Tools and then Filter Task Rows. We've got a lot of other filtering options you can check out as well, but that's kind of how filtering works. Okay, so I'm going to go to Show All Task Rows. That looks pretty good. And I'm going to talk about default text. So if I go to my Format tab, this is where the default text actually is. And you'll notice you can change the text individually of symbols. You can change the size, etc. But for instance, if I go to Symbol Text right here in the Format tab, this is where I can make a lot of universal changes. So if I wanted all of the symbol text to be bold, for instance, I could just choose bold right here. And this is going to be the default for all of your current symbols and any new symbols that you add. So if I press OK, you can see it made all the text bold. I could go individually to each symbol and make them bold, but that would be kind of a lot of work. And then if I want to change it later, I'd have to change them all individually. So just keep that in mind. Format tab, symbol text right there for the symbols, and another example, column text. If I had a lot of columns, this would be a bigger deal. You can see if I change the size right there, it's going to affect all the columns and any new columns that I add. Again, that's the Format tab, kind of this default text section. It's really useful. The next thing I'll talk about is vertical text. So there's a couple different ways to get vertical text in your schedule. The first way, I'm just going to use the freeform text. So this little text tool right here, I can just add some text anywhere to the schedule, and it's going to make a little text box. So then I can go back and just click on that text box, and you can change the angle right there. So if you just need some vertical text, you can choose either 90 or -90 depending on how you want it to look. But you can kind of see how that looks, and then you can kind of click and drag and move it around. Again, that's using the little T tool on the toolbox. You can also add text to columns. So you have to actually do it for the entire column. So I'm going to go to Insert, New Column, Text, and I'll just kind of resize this a little bit. And I'll just do, let's see, add some text here, vertical text example, update cell text, and you can see it's defaulting to horizontal. I'm going to select the whole column just by hovering near the bottom of the column, and then this is where you can change the cell text. So I'll just say maybe 90 degrees centered, and then you can see that's how you can do vertical text inside of a cell. Again, you have to select the whole column and kind of choose that option right there for the cell text. And to get rid of these horizontal lines, you can actually select the individual cell, and you can say hide bottom grid. So you can see I did that for that cell, and then also this cell, hide bottom grid, and that looks pretty good. You can also add a border if you want to, so just kind of select the individual cells, and you can see I'm kind of building a little border right here just by hiding certain parts of the cell. Depending on how many cells you have, it might be a little bit of work, but you can kind of see I'm kind of building that border right there, just selecting the line type and then choosing which sides to show. One other way to show vertical text is on a curtain. So if I go to the Format tab and choose Curtains Shade by Date Range, and click on that, I've already got a curtain right here, so I can just click on Edit, and this is where you can put the curtain name. So I can just say curtain name, and then I'll say show name, and position, I'll just say centered, maybe at an angle, like a vertical angle right there, maybe on the right and centered. So that looks pretty good. Press OK, and then when I press done, then you should see that curtain name kind of show up right there. Again, that's in the Format tab. If you go to Curtains, if you have a curtain already, then you can add the text, or you can just add a curtain yourself if you want to show that vertical text. And the last tip is about moving rows in the toolbox. So go ahead and just select a row in the toolbox if you want to move it somewhere else. Then you can right-click on the toolbox and choose Move Selected Row. Then you can move it up or down. And this feature is only available starting in version 2023, so if you've got the latest version, you should be good to go. And that's pretty much how you move rows in the toolbox. And I think that's pretty much it for our tips and tricks. If you have any questions, feel free to email support@kidasa.com, and be sure to visit our website at kidasa.com. Have a nice day.